10,000 subscribers. How are there 10,000 of you? You all need to reevaluate your life choices. And that's coming from somebody who plays with toys for a living.
Do the impossible, see the invisible. Row, row, fight the power.
Anyways, hello everybody, welcome back to another Mecha Model Kit review. If you can't tell already, this video is a little bit different. That's right, doing a face cam now. Can it actually be considered a face cam if you can't see my face? I don't know, but I also don't really care, so I guess it evens out. As you could probably also tell, got a new mic right here. Got a new camera as well, it's just not here yet, so I'm an impatient bastard and I'm using my old one for this video, so if the lighting looks kind of shitty, if the camera quality is kind of shitty, well, there's my excuse. Anyways, got all the new fancy equipment that will finally let me be the jobby clone that my YouTube comments section apparently fucking thinks that I am. Heaven forbid I make jokes during a toy review. Am I right? Anyways, before I get too wrapped up in self-loathing, today we're taking a look at the, one second here. Sen-Ti-Nel Plaiobot Gurren Lagann Model Kit from the anime Gurren Lagann. How creative. If you don't know what Gurren Lagann is about, go watch it. But seriously, it's about a guy and a kid who fight animal people using a thing. And that thing is the Gurren Lagann, which I happen to have right here, or a scale model of it at least. Now I actually did not get this kit at Galactic Toys, however, I believe they might have some in stock. They may have ran out since the last time I checked, so don't take my word for it. Plus this video is probably gonna take like a month to make anyway, so you know, it might be out of stock by then. Who knows? But you can use the link down in the description to check out their website, and they have a ton of model kits, modeling supplies, hobby tools, anything you could possibly want at a great price, and you can get an extra 10% off using code YSG10. Don't say I never did anything for you. Anyways, let's crack this bad boy open and see what Sen-Ti-Nel has to offer us. Now, this is actually their first model kit from their Plaiobot line, Plaiobot being a portmanteau of Plastic Model and Riobot. If you don't know what Riobot is, that's Sen-Ti-Nel's line of mecha figures, which are insanely fucking expensive and quite small. So I've never been able to justify the price and will probably never buy one as long as I live, so. But I digress. Let's get back to talking about the model kit. I'm gonna get this thing built up. I'll be back in 1 second and we'll take a closer look. So here we have the finished Gurren Lagann kit, and as you can see, it's pretty damn good looking. Now the kit is a little smaller than I originally anticipated, but hey, I guess it is pretty on brand for Sen-Ti-Nel to make small products with big price tags, am I right? Did I mention I paid 65 bucks for this? Fuck my life. Anyways, as for size comparisons, here's the Gurren Lagann next to the high-grade GPO3 Stamen, the Reborn 100 Vig Nagina, and this hideous looking bust of Mikasuki from that one show with the Barbatos Gundam that a lot of people in the Gundam community really enjoy for whatever reason. Now, to be honest, after building this thing, I am looking forward to seeing more models come out of Sen-Ti-Nel's Plaiobot line because, honestly, the build quality of this thing wasn't too bad. It kind of felt like building a small Reborn 100 kit from Bandai. Speaking of getting upcoming models from Sen-Ti-Nel though, we are getting a Lagann kit sometime next year. By the way, you can actually pre-order that right now at Galactic Toys. I'm winking behind the glasses. And sure, I mean, more Gurren Lagann stuff is always cool, but I'd like to see some more kits from different franchises, and I'm wondering what they're going to pick up. It would be nice to see some more stuff from maybe some more obscure franchises. I don't know, maybe Godanar or something like that. Maybe that's just my wishful thinking going into overdrive there. Or maybe I really just want a chance to ham-fist that banging ass opening song into a video. Okay, now that my video's definitely gotten a copyright strike, I can probably say whatever the fuck I want, right? Back to the appearance of this kit though, it's a wonderful representation of the Gurren Lagann, and Sen-Ti-Nel definitely knows what they're doing with the visuals here. Although, I can't really say the same thing for certain aspects of the build. We'll get into that later though. Now, we do get a couple of seam lines on this kit in various places, but these aren't too hard to pick out and clean up yourself. We've got one running down the forearm here, and we've got a couple going down the backs of the legs, as you can see right here. Honestly, my biggest problem with the appearance of this kit is the absolutely excessive amount of color correcting stickers that we get with this kit. Thankfully, most of them are only for flat surfaces, so they're not too bad. It's kind of like the lesser of two evils here. And I mean, the kit does look really good with them on. The reflective gold is very nice looking, and this matte kind of beige color is a very nice contrast. I'm not really sure what it is about these stickers, but they feel a bit different and almost nicer to apply than Bandai's foil stickers, so not bad, Sentinel. Now, the last thing I have to really comment about the appearance on this kit is these little pre-colored parts here, which are honestly very nice. Both the faces of the Lagann and the Gurren have these pre-colored, pre-painted parts. As you can see, those come color accurate right out of the box. No stickers and no little separate parts in there. The eyes, teeth, and lips, and these little blue details here, these are painted, but these teeth on the inside, those are stickers. Now, moving on to the build quality, I was honestly expecting it to be kind of crappy when I first opened up the box. The plastic looked pretty cheap and brittle, but it wasn't bad to work with. Not Bandai quality, mind you, but it wasn't bad. However, the problems really start to come in when you actually get to fitting the pieces together, because 90% of them are so goddamn tight that I felt like I was going to break the thing trying to put it together. Thankfully, it's not Deban model level quality here that we're talking about. I didn't need to sand anything to make it fit together, thank God, but there was a lot of force and pressure required to get this guy put together. One more thing worth making note of is that many parts of this kit do actually require glue. So if you're thinking about putting this kit together, just make sure you have some of this handy. However, overall, despite these things, the actual assembly process for the kit is quite rudimentary. I'd say it's on par with your average Reborn 100 or high-grade kit. It's really nothing that anyone with a little bit of modeling experience can't handle, so don't let this intimidate you. Now, keep in mind that this is Sentinel's first model kit from their Plaiobot line, so I can cut them a bit of slack here and there. But there is one thing that I cannot forgive. Let me tell you a story. The story title is called "Some Dipshit at Sentinel Decided to Save a Few Bucks by Skimping Out on Plastic in the Fucking Hip Connector Peg." Now, I'm not joking when I say that these hip pegs are literally like 80% hollow out of box. I'd love to show you what I mean when I say that, but unfortunately both hip pegs literally fucking snapped off the second I started handling this kit's legs. And I had to perform like some kind of weird surgical procedure to replace the hip peg with this brass dowel just to be able to get this thing together. I really don't want to take it apart again, but you can kind of see the brass showing through in there as a result of my handiwork. Now, this isn't just me being rough with the kit either. Seriously, every single person who I've spoken to who has this kit has encountered this problem in some way, shape, or form. So I really just gotta ask, was it worth it, Sentinel? Was it worth shaving a couple of dollars probably off your production cost to create an issue that will most likely wholeheartedly sour the general first impression of your brand new model kit line for the general public? All I can really hope for is that this issue doesn't persist in their future releases, and hopefully they'll learn from their mistakes. Because honestly, I see a lot of potential here. I'm really just unsure of how it got through quality control in the first place. Let's talk about accessories. The Gurren Lagann comes with a handful of accessories. We essentially get everything you could ask for from a kit of this mecha, aside from maybe a Giga Drill instead of just a slightly longer one, but I'm fine with what we have here. We get a bunch of very nice looking expressive hands here, plus some holding hands which can be used to hold these giant glasses like weapons as it does in the show. They can also double as glasses if you have a very tiny head. We also get the two drills, one long and one short. They plug into the wrist just like the hands do. And it also comes with an alternate set of wrist guards that allow you to have the wrist drills extended. Now let's take a quick step back for a second and just talk about the drills for a minute here. Now, as you can see here, there are some pretty nasty nub marks left here after cutting these out. This is the aftermath of using SPN 120 God Hands on these, which usually clean things up no problem. However, the plastic silver leaves these nub marks just super easily, and it looks terrible. One other thing is that there's this seam line running up the entirety of the drill, which I could imagine would be a huge pain in the ass to clean that up if that's something that you care about. Also, might be a small nitpick, but if you look carefully, you'll see that the spirals on both halves of the drill don't really line up perfectly, and well, you're not really going to notice that at any length further than super close to your face. It's something that kind of irks me just in the slightest, you know? Lastly, we get the backpack. This thing looks like some kind of evil pterodactyl to me, but it's super cool. I wish I could truly explain to you what this is or what it does, but I haven't finished the show yet, much less gotten to the part where this even comes into play. If you even think about spoiling it for me in the comments, I will come to your house. I will take all of your belongings and I will pawn it for more model kit money. Don't test me, I've already got the ski mask on. Anyways, the backpack has a little bit of articulation on the wings. The wings can pop out and slide back in just like so, and they can move back and forth in a pretty nice range of motion. Also, be careful of these. These spikes are actually quite sharp. I've poked myself on them quite a few times. The gold on here is unfortunately wraparound stickers. Not a huge fan of that, but also pretty easy paint application if stickers aren't your thing. Now, one thing that did pleasantly surprise me about the backpack is how perfect the connection to this kit is. It just goes on super easy with little to no resistance. In fact, the attachment has such little resistance, I was honestly scared for a little bit that the thing was going to just fall off with any slight motion. But no, you can shake the hell out of this thing and it'll stay put right where it is, no problem. It can also detach super easily. Like, I seriously don't know how they made such a solid connection with such an easy attachment and detachment. It's very impressive, actually. The camera really does it no justice. It's something that you have to kind of feel for yourself. Now, this was either a huge stroke of genius on Sentinel's part, or maybe they used up all their development budget here and just kind of shat out the hip connectors afterwards. Moving on to the articulation, here's where my other biggest problem with this kit lies: how it actually feels to pose this thing. Now, remember when I said when talking about the build of this kit how a lot of these parts go together incredibly tightly? Well, that can be a double-edged sword in this instance. On one hand, this thing will undoubtedly hold any pose that you want to put it in. No problem, no questions asked. On the other hand, I feel like I'm going to crack this thing in half if I so much as want to change the angle of his knee bend. Yeesh. Almost every joint in this kit requires an uncomfortable amount of force to manipulate, and at least in my opinion, it makes for a pretty unpleasant handling experience. Hopefully, Sentinel can manage to dial it in for future releases because, honestly, this is pretty annoying to deal with, especially on camera. Back to the articulation though. We have a ball joint at the head, can look up that far, and he can look down that far. There's also a bit of forward and backward there, pretty good actually. The head does like to pop off super easily, so be careful about that. These shoulder pads can rotate just like so, and they can hinge up and down just a little bit there. These shoulder pauldrons are on a ball joint and they can rotate back and forward just like this. These also tend to pop off pretty easily, but you know, just easy enough to pop back on there, no problem. The arms can move up that far without the shoulder pauldron there. 360 spin at the bicep, very nicely done double jointed bend at the elbow. The hands are on a ball joint, but this one's not going to move right now because I have this alternate wrist piece in. These drills kind of block the hand from moving at all. The torso's articulation is actually really cool because we have a functioning mouth here. It can close and open, which functions as an ab crunch. There's two ball joints here connecting the whole thing, so we get a little bit of rotation up here, side to side, and a full 360-degree spin at the lower torso right there. These side skirts are on ball joints, and as you can see right there, they love to fall off when you move them at all, so be careful with that. I'm just gonna take these off for demonstrative purposes. The hips can split about that far. We technically have full rotation up at the thigh, but this is what snapped my hip joints last time, so I'm really scared of actually rotating this all the way, so just take my word for it. We get a double jointed bend at the knee with a little bit of armor separation right there. Foot all the way up, which is pretty far actually, and all the way down, which doesn't have a huge range of motion in that regard. The ankle pivot, kick all the way forward and all the way back. So that's it for the Sentinel Plaiobot Gurren Lagann model kit review. Overall, I'd say my experience with this kit was mostly positive. Definitely the issues I encountered while building this were worth it in the end. I really love how this turned out. I love how it looks. It's just a really great little piece of plastic. And I really hope that Sentinel does end up doing more Plaiobot stuff in the future. Of course, they're making the Lagann, but I really hope they continue that afterwards because there's a lot of potential here. Of course, they do need to make sure that they dial in some of those issues. You know, I can deal with having tight fitting parts. I can deal with kind of wacky feeling joints, but I kind of draw the line at having straight up hollow hip connector pegs. Fix that, please. One more thing I'd kind of like to say just in addendum is I would really like to see maybe a Gigadrill expansion or DX set for this. Definitely the joints are strong enough to be able to support something like that. It wouldn't really be hard to make and be about that big. I think it would be a little cool thing to have, and I've definitely seen a couple people saying that they wish they had one for their kit. Now, I bought this thing for about $65. Now the place that I bought it from, I've kind of noticed that they upcharge a bit on their model kits, but I couldn't really find it anywhere else. And I've also kind of noticed that the price that this retails for normally is just a little bit overpriced anyways for what you get. Now, it's definitely not bad. It's not going to break the bank, but you might be able to get a little bit more bang for your buck elsewhere, if you know what I'm saying. However, if you are a big enough Gurren Lagann fan like me, you know, haven't even finished the show, I'm like halfway through it, but I really like the design of this thing, so it was worth it to me, and if you're a fan of the show, it'll probably be worth it to you as well. Anyways, that's going to be it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying the new style of video. If you are, let me know down in the comments, and if you do like it, it would mean a lot to me if you'd leave a like on the video because it helps me out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring the bell if you want to be notified of every time that I upload. Anyways, I think that's going to be all for today, so take care.